Welcome to the second part of the activity 2, activity 4. So here the first part we completed in the previous video. So the second part is actually a very interactive one. So that is a PHP based quiz application, and the specialty in this application is we are not going to use database, so we are not going to use sessions. So here purely we are going to work with arrays. So we will see how we are going to develop this interactive quiz application by using arrays. And also this is a kind of a dynamic application, dynamic web application, because we are going to display some information based on the user's actions. So therefore this will be an example for dynamic web application. So let's see how we are going to create this one. So first I will create a PHP project here. So then here the first thing is we need to have a quiz array here, because we are going to define an array to hold the quiz questions. So therefore first I will create a array here. So I will name it as quiz. Okay, and this is an array. Okay, so in this inside this array, so we are having questions. So the questions, so in this activity we are going to use 3 questions. So you can download these questions from the VLE page of this course, and these are the questions that I'm going to use. So I will add these 3 questions into my quiz array. So the first I'm going to add the first question. So here if I go to this first question, so here you can see this is again having three part of information. The first one is the quiz question text, and then question options, and then the correct answer. So therefore when you are storing this kind of question, so this kind of data in an array, again we need to use an array, because this is again having 3 parts. So therefore I'm going to define an array inside this main array. Okay, so this is that one. So like this we need to have 3 questions, so therefore I'm going to create 3 arrays here. Okay, so like this, this is for the question 1, this is for the question 2, this is for the question 3. Okay, so this is the quiz array. So now I'm going to add the first array data. So here so I'm going to use an associative array here, because here we are having 3 parts. First one is the question text, and then the options and correct answer. So the question text, so we will name it as question, and the question value is this one. So I will copy this one and I will paste it. Okay, so this is the first element of this array. The second one is actually options. So once I go to this option part, again you can see that option we are having 4 options. So that means again this options is again having multiple values. So then we need to again have a we need to use an array here again to save these options values, because the options again contain 4 values. Okay, so therefore I'm going to create another array here to save these options. Okay, so what are the options values? So we are having 4 values here. Okay, we are having 4 values. So the first one is this one, second one is this one, third one is this one, fourth one is this one. Okay, so these are the four options. Okay, after that so we are going to have the correct, so we will name it as answer. Okay, answer. So answer is C. C means F open. So I'm going to add that value here like this. Okay, so this is the first question. So here you can see in this question, so we are having question, options and correct answer. So likewise I'm going to add other questions as well. So here the second question is which of the following is used to concatenate, so that one, so I'm going to add that as well here. And then the answers, options, plus, dot, comma, colon, plus, dot, comma and colon. Okay, so these are the four values and the correct answer is B, that means dot. So the next one, third one, which of the following PHP super global, so that is third question, so I'm going to copy that one and I'm going to paste it under the third array, because third element of the quiz array. Okay, so now array options $get. So in this case I will use semicolons because single quotes, because this is a super global variable, a keyword in PHP. So we discussed that we can use double quote or single quote when you are going to define a string, but the double quotes will work as interpolated strings. So therefore uh, so therefore sometimes there may be some cases, however if you are using this single quote, it's very it's safe. So therefore we will go with single quotes here, because we need to print this value, not to execute this value. Okay, so these are the three questions here. This is the first one, this is the second one, and this is the third one. Okay, so now we are going to work with now we are going to display these questions to the users. So here, after displaying this question, the ultimate goal of this exercise is to get the user's answer and calculate the calculator score for this user. So therefore here the first thing is we need to display something to get user inputs. So normally we are using HTML forms to get user inputs. So therefore I'm going to use form here. So I will add form. So I will go to the palette, and from here I'm going to add a form, and here the form, so we are going to use the value like this. Okay, so echo dollar server, and then as value PHP self. So we discuss what is this PHP self means. So that means, so we are going to call to the same page again. Okay, so in this case we are not going to use a separate page to process these things. So we can use the same page and we can load the information. So we can reload the page and we can submit the information to the same page. So therefore we are going to use the action like this, and then the method is post, and I will click OK. So now this is the form, and after that we need to the first thing is we need to display a question number here. So when you are displaying a quiz, the first thing is we need to display a question number. So I will use H4 heading here, and I'm going to display the question number, question, and here I'm going to display the number. So now in this case we need to use some dynamic programming. So therefore what I'm doing is so I'm going to define question variable called question index. Okay, question index. So this is we are starting from 0, so that means we will get the questions from starting from 0. 0 means this one, the first element, and then 1 means this one. Likewise we are going to get, so, but very beginning, so the question index is set to 0. So now I will use this question index value to display the question here. Okay, so we are going to add 1 because we are not normally displaying zeros as question number. So then we can display it like this. Okay, so if I run this one now, I start Apache, it's running now, and if I run this one now, so you can see the question 1, the question number is now appearing. So after that we need to get the question here. So here the question is actually this one, the 0th index means this is the question. So now I'm going to get that one. So we are going to call to the quiz array, and here we are passing the question index. So now we so here in this case the question index is 0. So now we went to this question, so now we are in here, and from here we need to get value of this key. So this is the key because this is the associative array. So in this one, so this is the key, so we are going to get the value of this key. So that means we need to pass the key. Okay, so I'm going to pass the key as a question. Okay, so now if I run this one, okay, you can see now the question is there. So the next one is, so we need to display the options. Okay, so next we are going to display the options. So when you are displaying options, so you know that we are having 4 options. So this is the options one, and options one is again an array. So now we are going to use a for each loop to go through this array. Okay, so I'm going to use for each loop, and I will use this format. I will tell you why I'm going to use this format, and I'm going to use options here. Okay, so therefore my array is not quiz here. So I'm going to get the one question, and inside this one question, so I'm going to use options array here, and here so this is an indexed array, the options array. So this one is an indexed array, so this is 0th one, this is 1 2 3. Okay, so now I'm going to get this value and also the key of this value. Key means the index, okay, of this value. So then I can use this information uh, use in this information uh, in future as well. So I will explain why we are going to use this information, but for now, so we will read it like this. So I'm going to pass the question index, and after that I'm going to get the first options, and this is an array, so therefore I'm going to use for each to get elements. So here I'm going to save the indexed key under the variable called key, and the value of this one under the value. Okay, so now in this case, so I need to display radio button here because we are having single answer questions here, not multiple answer questions. So therefore we are going to have a radio button in this case. Okay, so I'm going to add a radio button, so I can go here and then I can select radio button and I can add it like this. So here the group is so we will use ANS key. Okay, we will use answer key. Okay, and click OK. Answer key and click OK. So here the value means, so we are going to save key as the value. So the reason is, if you use value, uh, if you use this if you use whatever value comes under this dollar value attribute, dollar value variable, so then if you are going to save it here, so then you can see that this is the value that we are going to pass with the key when you are going to submit this form. So for example, think that we are having a very lengthy text here. So then once you are going to pass this value again to this server, so we need to pass this lengthy text as well. To get rid of this one, so that means to make this very simple, so what we can do is we can save, we can store the key. Key means it is an actually integer value here, because we are going to save the array index under dollar key variable. So therefore if you are going to use this dollar key value here, so then it will be an integer and it's very simple when you are going to pass data from one page to the another page. So therefore now in this case, so we are going to add dollar key here like this. And now here, so in this case we need to display the actual questions to the user. So therefore I'm going to use value in this case, and we should use breaking tag as well. Okay, like this. So now if I run this one now, okay, so we are getting an error here. We will go to the code. Okay, input type radio, name its answer key, and we are going to display key here. Now okay, so we mistakenly entered 1 here. Okay, so now I will run it again. Okay, now you can see we are having 4 options here: open, read file, if open, file, get, continue. So those are the 4 options. So if I go to the page source now, so here you can see the value means what? So we are going to save the index of this option. Okay, so this is the value that we had, but we are going to save the index here as the value. So when you are passing this information to the server side, so we are actually using this value now. Now we will move to the next one. The next option is, so now once user click an answer here, so that means once user select an answer from this given list, so we need to submit this information to the server again. Okay, so how we are going to use how we are going to do submit? So we are going to use a submit button. Okay, so I will add a breaking tag here, and after that I am going to add a submit button. So you can go to the palette, and from here you can select button and you can drop drag and drop like this, and we will give the label as next here, and it's a submit button. Okay, so input type submit, value next. So once this submit button clicks, okay, so I will run this one now. Once I run this one, so you can see every time once I click this next, so I'm still with the question 1, so I'm not moving to the question 2. So now how we are going to add this moving part? So how we are going to move the user into the question 2 once he submit one answer for submit an answer for this question. So this is how we are going to do it. Okay, so now we are using the post method here. Once I click on this submit button, this information will be submitted to the server as a post method thing. Okay, so now I'm coming here in this level. So after this my question array, so now I'm going to check whether there is any post action, because in this case you can see that we are going to use the same page to load the questions very beginning, and also once user submit this information, submit his answers, so then also we are submitting these answers to the same page. Okay, so in that case this page need to work in two modes. The first one is the initial level, so that means once the user is going to start this quiz, so it's having a one level, one mode, and once the user is going to submit some information, it's having a another mode. Okay, but in all these two cases, so we need to all these two modes we need to handle through this page. So we discussed that we are having something called request method. So under $server super global variable, so we are having something called request method. So by using this request method, we can handle these two modes. So we will see how we are going to do it. If $server request method equal to post, if this is post, so that means the user is submitting something. So that means actually user is submitting what? User is submitting the question, submitting some answers for the previous question. Okay, so in that case, so we need to get the question, the question ID, the previous questions ID. Okay, so now we need to keep that information when we are transferring, when we are sending data from one page to another page. So therefore I'm going to use a hidden field, and I'm going to use that hidden field to save this information. So this is how I'm going to add it. Okay, so after this break in tag, so now I'm going to add input field here. So I will go to the palette, and I'm going to add this input field like this, and here the name is question key. So we will use it as question key. Okay, and this is a hidden field, and I'm going to click OK now. So now we need to add the value, so that is the question key. Okay, so that is actually from the application side, it's a question index. Okay, it's a question index. So now we will save it like this. So now if I run this one, and you can see that we are not seeing any so that means the user is not seeing this information. But if I go to this view source, so now here you can see we are having a hidden field. Okay, so it's carrying the question number. Okay, now I'm going to get this value from the server side again, because if there's a post, so that mean we are actually passing a question number to the server side. So now I'm going to get this question number, and I'm going to add 1 to this question key to get the next question index. Okay, so because this is what we are passing to the user side, once user is submitting the information, this is coming back again. Okay, it's coming back again. So now we are going to change this by using that passed value. Okay, so we passed value is actually coming with this question key key, and after that I'm going to add 1 for this one. So now if I run this one now you can see we are getting the question 1 here. Once I click next, so now I'm going to question 2. Once I click again, now I'm getting question 3. If I click again, now you can see we are getting an error. Why? So in our quiz we had only 3 questions, but now we are asking for another one. So that means we need to handle that as well. So if you are reaching to the maximum of this quiz question, so that means if you are in this case, if you are reaching to the third question, so that means the second index of the array, so after that we need to display the marks or the score to the user, not the questions again, because we don't have any other questions in our quiz. So therefore we need to stop at that position and we need to pass this user into a different view. Okay, so that view actually going to display the score of the user. So now we will see how we are going to do it. Okay, so we are going to have another if condition here. Okay, if so we are going to count the quiz array, and if the question index is less than count, okay, is less than count, so then we are going to display this form to the user. Okay, so this form. Else, so now we are going to add an else part here. Else we are going to display a different, so we are going to display different interface to the user. So in that interface we are going to print a message. So you have completed, to have successfully completed the quiz. Your score is, and we are going to display the score to the user. Okay, so now we can see whether we handle this error. So now we are getting the question 1, next question 2, next question 3, and next we will see now we are getting a message, you have successfully completed the quiz and your score is, still we didn't calculate this score. So now we completed that part as well. So now the next thing is, once user submit an answer, so we need to save this answer, and we need to keep that answer until the user is going to answer for all these questions. After that only we can calculate the score. Otherwise, if you are going to calculate it one by one, so then if we are having some kind of a previous button, so then if the user is going to change the previous question's answer, so then again we need to recalculate the score. So that is kind of a difficult method. So therefore what we are going to do is, so we are going to keep the user's correct answers until the end, and once the user complete all the questions, so then only we are going to check whether these answers are correct or not, and after that only we are going to calculate a score for this user. Okay, so that is how we are going to do it. So now we will see how to do it. So here I'm going to create another array now. So this array is we will name it as answers array. Okay, so this is answers array. So now once user submit one question, so that means actually he submitting what, he submitting answers. Okay, so now if once the user submit a question, that means he is actually submitting the answer. So answer is normally coming with this key. So okay, so this is the key, answer key. Okay, so now what we are going to do is, so we are going to add this question and answer into that array. Okay, question and answer into that array. So this is how we are going to do it. So we are going to add dollar answer, and now we will have the question mark, the question number. So this is the question number, it comes with this it's comes into this one, and we are going to add that one. This is the question number, and then we are going to add the answer. Okay, so answer key like this, answer key like this. So now we added the question key and answer key into this array. Now what we need to do is, so here you can see that we are going to submit this information to the same page, so that is true. But once we are going to display the next question, it is actually a different state, it's not the previous state. So that means if we are not going to save this answer in some place, so then once it's come to the next state, this information or these values are not there, because HTTP is actually a stateless protocol. So that means it's not going to keep any information, any data about its previous actions or its previous connections. So therefore we need to somehow save, in somewhere we need to save this answer array, then only we can retrieve it again. Okay, so here what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the same concept here. In the previous case, to save the question number we used a hidden field, so in this case also I'm going to use a hidden field again. Okay, so I'm going to use an hidden field again like this. Okay, and this hidden field is answer array. So now I'm going to save answer array inside this hidden field. So this is how we are going to save it. So we are going to save answer array, so like this. But in here we are going to send an array to the user side through a network. So when you are going to send some information through the network, we need to encode it. Encode means we are going to convert these values into a standard format. But when you are going to convert it, so the array is a uh, different types of different data type. Okay, so actually we are going to use a different type to save the data inside an array. So therefore the first thing is we need to convert this array into string. So after that only we can encode this one. To convert this, so we are having a method called serialize. Okay, so we can use the serialize method to convert this array into a string. So then again we can use unserialized method to convert this string into an array. Okay, so therefore here we are using serialize, and after that we need to encode. So we can use HTML special charge function here, and then we can encode this one like this. Okay, so like this we can save this value. So now if I run this file now, and if I go to this view page source, so now you can see that okay, we are having error here. So I will go to the code again and I will check what is the error. Okay, answer, but our array is actually answers, not answer. Okay, sorry, so that's a mistake here. So we need to name this as answers. Okay, so now if I run this one, and if I go to the view page source, now you can see we are having an array here, you can see. Okay, so this is an array converted to the string, and we encoded it, and we now saved in the client side. Now we are actually saving this in the client side. Okay, now once the client is going to submit his correct answer, he is going to submit these values as well, the question key and answer array. So now once the answer array comes to the server, from the server side we need to get it again. So now I'm going to this place, and here where we are handling this post method. So I'm going to here, now I'm going to get this array, and I'm going to save it. So the array is comes with which key? The arrays actually comes with answer array key. Okay, so now I'm going to get this one, but here the first thing is now it is encoded. That means we need to decode it. Okay, so HTML is special char, so that is what we used. So we need to use the reverse method. So that means HTML is special chars decode, to decode this array first. Okay, this value, not the array, this value. Okay, so now we decoded it, and after that we need to use unserialized to convert this decoded value into a array again, because after decoding it's a string. Okay, so now we need to convert this into an array, so therefore we are going to use unserialize, and now we can get the okay, we can get the answers array like this. So now if I run this one, so now I'm going to select this one, and I'm going to next, and now I'm going to check whether I have added any values to this array. Okay, I'm going to add another one, and I'm going to check it again. Still we are adding the only one value here. Okay, so we will go to the code and we will see whether what's happening here. Okay, sorry, so here we can see that we have the same mistakes here, so it's answers, not answer. Okay, so I will run it again now. So this is the first page. I'm going to view source page. Okay, so we are having some value here, and I'm going to submit some information, and I'm going to next, and now I'm going to check the view page. Okay, so we are adding this, so you can see, so we are adding some value now. Okay, so if I go to the next question by adding another value, so then now you can see we have more values here like this. Okay, we have more values, so that means our strategy is working now. So now we are submitting answers and questions. So now the next thing is, so once we complete these questions quiz, so that means once the user complete this quiz, now we need to calculate the score for this user. So this is how we are going to do that part. So I'm going to the here, because here actually we are going to handle this the quiz completion part. So in this case, before displaying this information to the user, so I'm going to go through this array. Okay, so now the array is actually the answers array, and I'm going to go through this answers array, and I'm going to check whether these questions and whether the answers for these questions are correct or not. If that is correct, I'm going to add a mark. Okay, so therefore I need to have a variable here called score, and I will set it to 0 now. Now I'm going to get one by one from this answers array. Okay, so therefore I'm going to use for each so here also I'm going to get the key and value. Okay, so here the answers is the array, and here the key means actually that is the question index name. So that is q index, question index. Key means question index, because here you can see this is how we constructed this array. Okay, so this is how we constructed this array. So the key, so this is the key. So here key means question key, so that means when we are going to get this array elements again, the key means question index. Okay, and then the value means what? Here value means actually the answer. Okay, so the correct the user's answer, not the correct answer, it's a user's answer. Okay, so first the key means the question index, and value means its user's answer. So now we are going to check whether this user's answer is correct with the correct answer. So this is how we are going to check it. So I'm going to use this quiz. So because our questions are inside this quiz, so therefore I'm going to use this quiz array. And first I need to go to the relevant question. So the relevant question is actually having this quiz index is having the index of this question. Okay, so after that I need to go to the um, options. I need to go to the options section. Okay, options element, and from this options element I need to select what actually user selected. That means user's answer. I need to get the user's answer from these options. Now I need to check whether it's going to equal to the answer, because the correct answer is actually saved under answer here. You can see. Okay, so now we are going to check whether this question, so this is the question and this is the options, and then we are passing user's answer. That means whether the user's answer is going to match with the relevant questions correct answer. If that is matching, so then we are going to add 1, not 1, so we are going to add, so we will add 5 marks. Okay, so we are going to give 5 marks for this user. Okay, so then finally we are going to display that mark to the user. So that's it. We will run and see. So now I'm going to okay, so the answer for this one, if open, yes, correct, and for this one it's dot, yes, correct, and here the answer is $get. But to check whether I'm getting only 10 marks, so I'm going to select $post. Okay, you can see now I'm getting only 10 marks for this quiz. So we will try it again with all correct answers. In that case, how many marks I should get here? 10 marks. Okay, so now I'm going to select F open here and dot here, and then here the correct answer is $get. Okay, now you can see I'm getting 15 marks. So let's try with 0 correct answers. So that means all incorrect answers. So now here I'm using this option, and here this option, and here this option. Okay, your score is 0. Now you can see it's dynamic. Okay, that means it's not static. It's not printing the things we typed. Okay, based on the user's actions, based on the user's answer in this case, so we are going to display a different output to the user. So that is what a dynamic application means. So now we can see without using database or without using a local file system, or without using a session or cookie, now by using arrays we are actually implementing a dynamic application here. So the specialty is, so anyway we need to save this information in somewhere. So in this case we are using the client browser or the user's browser to save this information. How we are going to save it? So we are going to have a hidden field, and we are going to use these hidden fields to save this information. Then once the user is submitting this information back to the server, so these hidden field values are also submitting to the server. So then we can use this information and we can do the other part. So that is how we did it. First we created an array here, so to store the questions, and after that we added a form to display the questions, and then we use this variable called question index to display the index of the question. And once user submit the first question's answer, so then we use this request method to capture that one, and after that we increase this question key by 1. So then we are going to display the second one, and then we created the answers array, and we are going to save the user's answer under this array. And both this question number and answer we are going to save by using two hidden fields like this. And then once the user submitted all the questions, so we are going to use if condition here like this to check whether the questions all the questions displayed to the user, and if all the questions displayed and user submitted the answers, then next case, so we are going to calculate the score by using this code part, and then we are going to display this score to the user like this. Okay, so that's all about activity 4, and with this one we are covering both the tasks which comes under this activity 4, and I hope you also can do this by going through this video. Yeah, so that's about the activity 4. Thank you.